Okay, so today it's a darker day in San Diego. Got the new bars put on here, and one of the big questions is, are these comfortable enough for a longer journey? Is yet to be determined. A lot of people who get higher bars, I think, are a little delusional. It's a natural human instinct to praise the decisions you made. We're all prone to it. We've all done it. So, and even with this ride, I'm going to tell you, I'm human. So, whatever I tell you, I'm clearly biased. And there's no way to remove it. The only way to remove it is to remove all other influences on me, including cost and perceived appearance and image and all that crap. It's impossible. So I'm going to do the best I can to tell you how my arms feel, my back feels, once we get out for a couple of 100 miles. It's raining today. I mean, it's misting today, so that's why the video is going to look blurry to you. You're going to get specks all over the camera, the screen in front of the camera. But there's, as everyone knows, there's so many reasons not to ride, including a little light rain. And today's one of those days, I don't care if it's just downpouring. I'm not turning back today. I'm gonna do at least a couple 100 miles. Rain, shine, hurricane. You tell these shocks are a little out of balance because the front is so stable, and it's actually stiffer. I mentioned in the last video. As expected. It's more controlled. When you enter driveways, you know those lips that you have in front of driveways, and when you exit, also when you take off, you don't get that pullback lift as much, and when you stop, you don't get that compression. But on sharper bumps, you know, the ones that you're taking at 30 miles an hour that are not big undulations, but more, well, those two, I notice it's just a better sensation. But also even the sharp jabs, it's soaked up a little better by the stock suspension because, well, it's like a 72 Cadillac, you know, compared to a new ATS on sport mode. It's going to be slightly more jarring, but overall much more controlled. So as long as it's not painful, I'll take control any day. I don't know what this guy's doing, but let's get ahead of you because clearly not thinking straight today. So what the bars do is, I have them canted forward a little bit. I think it's going to help in the wind, so I'm not just laying back like a big windsock. I'm actually a little more forward. I'm still upright, but I have this little forward bias to my torso. And I think it's going to help cut the wind better. And you know, already right now I'm feeling less on the upper chest than I normally do from positioning. It's pretty interesting. Also with this position, beyond my very lower lumbar area, it isn't really touching the back. My butt's cupped in that fast back seat that I have. But there's not a big need for the backrest because I'm not really making contact with it. If I were to lean back into the backrest, my arms would be in a less comfortable position, almost hyperextended. So you're gonna put the bar positioning. That matters too. It's not just what size bars you have, but are they pulled forward? Are they pulled back towards you? Are they right in the middle? So this is a very different feel already. I mean, I've probably done 30 miles or so. In a more, I would say, position of control, as opposed to laid back and more casual, so that, you know, it really affects your positioning. It's funny, people don't really talk about this, but your positioning really affects your attitude on the bike and what you're inclined to do. I mentioned in past videos, the Fat Boy, just because of its general size and, you know, character, just didn't really encourage me to ride aggressively. Not that it's encouraging me to do that right now, but I feel a little more in attack mode in this position. All right, you guys aren't doing a good job of getting ahead of these lights, so I'll give it a shot. I say that as I see a school sign on the road. Yeah, that front suspension is very different too. It's hard to say just, you know, the bars are doing any of this because the cup, you know, especially that suspension is gonna different feel. It's gonna give me a different level of feedback, and it's gonna change how I ride the bike. Can't avoid that. I'd already recommend this monotube front drop-in though for anybody who's curious about my impression. I haven't ridden it much, but it's enough where I'm already pretty convinced. And the part more distant has a higher amplitude, more ups and downs, so I would guess the longer the ape, the more that is going on. I feel a little more, but it's, you know, it's not really significant, to be honest. I was expecting more than I feel right now in terms of the vibes. More than stock, but it's not. It's not a significant difference to me. We'll see what I think at the 200 mile mark though. Maybe my hands will feel different than usual. The control feels fine. Corners like a fat boy. That's right. Oh yeah, I gotta get one of those shocks in the back here. Just feels, the front feels very inspiring compared to the way it felt before. But the rear is kind of lagging. It's doing its own soft bounce, its own slow, soft. So what I noticed when I first got on these, in the first 15 miles, I noticed the front head of the deltoids, they felt a little twinge, like I was working them. My arms aren't used to being up like this. They're not up, you know, these are low apes. I mean, these are 10 inches with somewhere between a 2 and a 3 inch riser. A little bit higher than stock, so little weird. It never turned into discomfort. Now, oddly enough, it's gone. How do I interpret that? If you have shoulders that are used to doing this or resist fatigue from your job or your genetics or riding with apes, you're not going to feel it, or it's not going to bother you. If you don't have any of those and your shoulders hurt even throughout most of the ride, I think most of you that would have that, even on a higher bar, you know, I think you're going to adapt pretty quickly, and I think it's going to go away if you ride regularly. If you ride, you know, twice a month on a Sunday, it's probably just going to bother you forever. So, like anything else, it's a muscular thing. Muscles, well, they respond to the environment and the strains put on them, and they respond pretty efficiently. Look at life coming at me. 2 cars drive me crazy. For so long, they finally let you by. And then you get the roadwork sign ahead. That's why you just don't pay attention to things you can't control, or don't get frustrated by them. I like that 25 mile per hour sign that says school is in the area when children are present. So I'm the one that's supposed to look for it. I mean, obviously if they're in the road, but you know, what if you got a little small little guy hiding behind a tree? Does that count? say, I'm going to stick with my past statement. I got to be 60, 70 miles out now. You know, it's not more or less comfortable. I can say that the positioning in itself puts me in much less of a kind of serene state and puts me in more of a playful state. This makes you want to attack a little more than the standard bars do. When you start scraping the boards, like right there, just making sure this thing was on. Start scraping your boards, which is fine. But what happens after that? You know, what else scrapes? What else destabilizes the bike? If you hit something else that's more fixed, because these boards will tilt upwards, but you hit something else that's more fixed, it's going to lift the rear tire, and there you go. So once you start scraping, you got to limit it. Problem is, if you're going too fast, you know, you can't just stand the bike up. You're going to lose your line, which means you just can't, like that right there, you can't take it, you know, 10, 20 miles an hour faster. Physically, you know, the rest of the bike can, but it's just that lean and that risk of destabilizing the rear tire. And it's one of those things that you have to accept when you buy this kind of bike. But this is meditating. This is what it's for. This is, you know, you hear the engine, you can feel it pulsing through you. Nice relaxed position where you shouldn't be thinking of anything else. So your wife and kids want, you know, their dad to have a long life, a long happy life. Getting out here and meditating on your bike is certainly going to help. A lot of people see it as, you know, time away from helping the family and, you know, doing what you do around the house or working. The reality is, if you're not stabilized psychologically, you're not at peace, you're not a good husband, you're not a good father, you're not a good professional, you're not a good technician, you're not fulfilled. So, look at the big picture. You know, people say the Softails are, you know, very limited. They're just for cruising, you know, short distances, bar hopping. For shorter people, you get a label. The reality is, they're also for people who just want to chill, you know? People who have their sport bike, people who have their crazy Ducati, people who have a nutty Dyna, it's all built up. Or people just have one bike, and that's a Softail. And they have enough stress during the week from work or the rest of their life. They don't want to induce stress while they're riding a motorcycle. Keeps you within a frame. You can ride spirited, you can kick the engine when you want to. You can hear it roar, you can feel it rumble. You can scrape your boards and giggle all the way around the corner. But it's going to keep you in a zone, comfortable, chill zone. Nothing wrong with that. It is what you want it to be. And I wanted to show you guys these turn signals in the back. They look great. It's the red running lights there. And inside you get the orange blinkers that turn on. There's the orange glow. And the front lights, they look great. Love that bullet style. Pretty girl. Well, I have an interesting update. I lost one of my foot pegs, as you can see. When I put these on, it was just a temporary, well, I planned on it just being a temporary trial to see how they fit and felt. And I was gonna powder coat the heel toe shifter, which I still plan on doing, but I'm gonna get an extended lever instead. But I didn't put Loctite on it for that reason, because it was temporary, and well, temporary turned into several rides and they just rolled off. So that's my bad. Anyway, we're about 200 miles right now. Hands are fine, shoulders are fine, overall fatigue is fine. Really no different. The only difference, as I keep mentioning, is the bars in their current position lead to a more forward stance in general that takes you off the backrest. So you're not getting all the benefits of the backrest. That being said, from your more forward position, it's more comfortable than it was without the backrest previously. Because before I was laying back with no backrest and it was like a stomach crunch. Now I'm more forward and it's just more natural. So I think if you want to utilize the backrest, bring the bars back, just tilt them back an inch or two. If you don't have a backrest, keep it forward. Everyone's different. The bars in this position with my current stance is more conducive for cornering. I like it better. It's more confidence inspiring. I think it's just, it may not be the bars itself, but just my positioning in general. And the width of the bars give a nice torque on that front end. So that's it. 200 miles. Works well. I'll probably wind up riding 230 today or so. 400 I wouldn't expect to be a big deal either. Stopped off once at 100 miles. So you guys ride safe out there. Have a good time.